A very good afternoon to each and everyone. This is Suruchi Bhatt. I'll be your host for this session. And on behalf of MIT Center for Future Skills Excellence, MIT ADT Art, Design and Technology University, it is my pleasure to welcome all the esteemed guests and enthusiastic participants from all parts of the globe for the second International Virtual Summit on Women Frontiers in Exponential Technology, the platform to get inspired, informed, and guided by global technology leaders. At the outset, let me welcome our lovely keynote speaker for the afternoon, Ms. Payal, Director-Robotex India. She is a founder, Hack the Crisis. Thank you so much for joining us today, ma'am. The MIT Art Design Technology believes in starting every journey of knowledge by seeking blessings from Goddess Saraswati. May I request you to all join your hands for the Saraswati Vandana. Huge thank you. The MIT Center for Future Skills Excellence, under the guidance of MIT Art Design and Technology University, Pune, is proud to bring on one platform where women who are world motivators in technology come together. The second International Virtual Summit on Women Frontiers in Exponential Technology is an attempt to salute women who influence and motivate and create awareness on the power of emerging technologies in career growth. So as we continue our journey beyond Industry 4.0, extraordinary innovations in robotics and automation that are witnessed, I am proud to say that women are one of the consistent contributors in technology too. To get a better understanding of the career growth in robotics for women, we have with us Ms. Payal. May I please request her AV? Ms. Payal Rajpal is a futurist. Ms. Payal Rajpal is a futurist, an educationist, and an entrepreneur with an amazing journey from London School of Economics to founding Hack, a cause in heading South Asia Robotics. She has leadership experience of over a decade and a half with businesses across UK and Asia in cable and wireless, Cordwell Group, Hutchison One Poa in areas of integrated businesses, strategic management, IT, ITES, FDI, executive coaching, skill development, digital startups, and social ventures. She spearheaded industry and academia collaborations, Education Ministry of Estonia and India, multilateral ties for a collaboration ecosystem of research and innovation with her mission to elevate Indian entrepreneurship, enterprise, and startup ecosystem. Ms. Rajpal is a pioneer in bringing robotics, AI, coding, and STEM education to government schools in urban, tribal, and rural areas. Her vision with Robotics, a non-profit organization, is bringing future skills to remote villages in India. She believes that children from every village in India should have the opportunity to learn advanced digital emerging skills to help build an intellectual, innovative, and incredible India. Robotics India has coached over 20,000 government school students thus far with a stupendous corporate ecosystem, CSR support, Girls Who Build Robots, Robotics for Rural as one of the parent programs. As a founder of Hack the Crisis India, which concluded two successful COVID-19 solutions, finding hackathons in April 2020, Hack the Crisis India is the largest in India with 15,000 participants, along with Global Hack, the first digital initiative with Ministry of Electronics and IT India, MeitY, My Government India, Digital India. Hack the Crisis India mobilized the top 50 solutions globally, also forming a Reliance Accelerator in association with Mighty Startup Hub. She has coached corporate leadership in over 100 companies and spoken in over 500 global platforms, from educational institutions to business forums. She's the vertical head for FICCI Flow Pune, empowered and impacted the lives of 10,000 plus women through various skilling projects and initiatives by raising 10 million since 2015. She's an advisor on Let's Do It India and Ambitious Africa, awardee of various accolades, that of Women in Business, Rising Star to Top Women in Technology, along with top 100 global influencers.
I hope you like the surprise, AB.
Thank you, Professor Suraj. That indeed was quite delightful surprise. A very great work done by you guys. Some very good background work as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Martha. Now session is all yours. We are eager to listen your thoughts regarding robotics for her.
Thank you. Thank you once again, team MIT, for having me, and the MIT Center for Future Excellence Skills is doing a fabulous job. And I'm quite eager to not just talk about what the journey has been so far, the challenges that women face, how women have overcome these challenges, broken the glass ceiling and the barriers, and risen, above all of this, but also, would love to interact with the listeners in terms of, questions that you have to make it a little more sort of interactive. So once again, thank you so much for having me here. Now, when we talk about the month of March and we call it the Women's History Month, it's a perfect time to reflect on women who have made amazing contributions in science and technology. Now, when we say this, who comes to your mind first? And I often ask this question, even in an offline old people conference, is that, can you name a famous women leader in technology? At one of the conferences, the answer that was given was Alexa and Siri. And I was like, okay, they don't particularly count. But, when we look at respondents on Tell Us who are the women achievers in STEM, in robotics, in AI, or in tech alone, the first thing that we hear is typically the name of Indian scientists. And it's the first name that comes to everyone is Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Then there is C.V. Raman. Then there is Srinivasa Ramanujan. It would actually make a rare case that the first thing that comes to a mind is an Indian woman in science. And, thanks to the glaring domination of men in the field of STEM, perhaps because of the lack of, encouragement, resources provided to women, not only in the Indian society, but globally as well, women have it harder when it comes to, STEM, technology, and emerging tech. The paucity of women, and the reason why I say STEM and sort of group it into a larger and not break it into a subset of robotics, is because science, technology, engineering, mathematics, then sort of broken down, give us the elements of AI, coding, IoT, robotics as well. So like I was saying, that the paucity of women in STEM is not merely due to skill inadequacy, but also as a result of assigned stereotypical gender roles. Women are more likely to face dual role syndrome, wherein professional decisions are largely affected by their domestic responsibilities. And we see that changing now to a larger sort of aspect, which is, great news for all of us. And however, despite the prevailing situation, we witness the success of multiple women in STEM today, not only in India, but globally as well. An increasing number of companies in India are looking at hiring more women in STEM. And when we talk about, roles in terms of even as roboticist as a role, at a time where there is a war for talent in the technology space, women's full-time employment has increased in many STEM occupations over the past decade, reaching a level of 2.3 million in 2021 alone. And when we sort of see these figures and we see these stats, it not only gives us hope, but it provides us that, instilled inspiration and encouragement to pursue the career that we had always, sort of dreamt of, and break the stereotypes. When we look at, self-driving cars, we hear the word artificial intelligence, and we know that a robot is, mapping human emotions, and very soon, or rather is at the moment, co-creating sort of furthermore intelligent systems and products. And we know that these are no longer the fantasies of just sci-fi authors or Hollywood directors. This is the reality of the future that we live in, and it's almost here. So when we look at new age industry, will definitely be marked by, lightning speed advancements and some mind-boggling change as it brings together the field of robotics in digital, industrial, medical, and biological technologies. And, industry is earmarked to revolutionize the future and generate millions, if not billions, for the economy, include robotics, artificial intelligence, virtual augmented reality, and IoT. So one of the, common questions that has been asked to us, and I will play a video shortly that sort of depicts the journey of Robotics India. I often get this, question asked that, how did the reverse brain drain occur? So to give you a sort of quick background, I'm an IT graduate from India who succumbed to the pressure of parental dreams, gave in. I did my BTech IT. And then I went to the UK and I studied at the LSE, where I worked with a large, telecom giant. And when I relocated back to India in 2010, what truly sort of, motivated me to create an equal democratized ecosystem for women is not only the conviction which they exhibit and the growing need, for women in technologies, because I saw that in the UK as well. When I was in the UK, this was, we're talking about the year, let's say 2004 to 2010, which was almost half a decade. This is the time where there was serious technology interventions happening. There were lots of testers and coders from Putney and Oracle in India that were working, within the UK. There were, holiday makers visa that was given for people, it was a 2-year duration visa. So there were tons of Kiwis and people from Australia, South Africa who were working. And, when we worked at a telecommunication company, when we went to the 6th floor, which was the IT floor, the tech floor, out of 180 people on that floor, there were just 11 women. And that was something which, sort of didn't strike as alarming to anyone back then, but it sort of stayed with me. So when I came back to India and, we started working on, bridging the sort of gender gap, bridging the gap between education to employment, skilling, etc. And then we're talking about, 2010, I started work, I joined FICCI Flow, which is the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry. Flow is the FICCI ladies organization, wherein we have different verticals. It's a 100-year-old sort of institution. We all work there pro bono, and there are, far larger initiatives that are created for purely women empowerment. So then FICCI happened. When FICCI happened, we started working towards students, girl students. We started working with women in rural villages, empowering them. and we started raising funds, because how are we supposed to empower these women, help them to get their livelihoods or get a scholarship for a student? And then the fundraising happened. So one way or another, there was always an intervention with women empowerment, girls at force, always sort of coming first. In 2016 to 2017, I was, appointed spokesperson for study in Estonia, wherein we started working on bilateral ties between state governments, larger universities, and also looking at how students from India can go to this amazing country, which has a population of only 1.5 million, but has the largest number of startups per capita, the largest number of unicorns per capita coming out of a tiny sort of country in Europe. And when we were working on this emerging tech, because in 2017, if we were talking about blockchain, cybersecurity, AI, robotics, there were very few sort of universities in India that were giving these courses, specializations, or higher studies as options. And when obviously the COVID outbreak happened, India went 10x, full throttle, head on into creating, becoming the third largest force of startup, becoming one of the powerful forces when we talk about cybersecurity and AI, which is now. But back then, when we were working on these aspects, that's when we realized that, okay, we're working in the higher education space. What about early stages, which is the school? That is when we decided to launch Robotics India. And now Robotics is a 22-year-old nonprofit that sort of comes from Estonia. When we launched Robotics India in 2018, which is the largest championship of robots on the planet, and it's been going on for 22 years. So in 2018, when 7,500 participants were exhibiting their amazing work in the field of robotics and coding and AI, yet again, we saw that there were only 29% girls in it. There was only one all-girls team from Sikkim. And that was the only team that had come from Sikkim, as a result of great state support that they had sort of received. And that is what made us then launch one of our verticals called Girls Who Build Robots. So we thought that there is, I'm going to also keep a quick sort of presentation in the background. So you get a quick preview on Girls Who Build Robots and the initiative that has happened so far. Right, so, and that's when we launched Girls Who Build Robots, because we were like, there is girls in STEM, there is girls who code, and we have, plenty of roboticist enthusiasts, which are, all over the world. Even a country like, even Afghanistan had an all girls, or all women's team that participated at the Robotics Olympiad, giving us faith that, why wait till one reaches the college, or why wait till one has to be additionally skilled after they complete their college education, and why not begin it as early as in school? And that's how Girls Who Build Robots with Robotics India was born in 2018. So far, 7,000 girls alone have been a part of this, vivacious, large sort of program that we've rolled out. Now, the different thing that we do here is, again, and I will touch upon it a little later, during this session that we have, is now when you see, and throughout the presentation, you will not read private sector, you will not read IB schools, you will not read, fancy robots. You will see simple people working on technology and making a difference. So that's another thing that we always, the emerging tech or anything new that sort of comes out is always being given to the ones who are privileged, but it never sort of comes first to the marginalized, underdeserved, underprivileged communities. And that is exactly we thought we need to do. So we got robotics for rural and girls who built robot only for government school students pan India. So we're talking about students from urban, rural, tribal areas who were then working on these, future skills. And I know that the topic here today is, women in robotics, she for robotics. But what I want to also talk about today is the whole holistic sort of ecosystem on how important it is that we cheer, encourage, motivate, not just girls, but boys, everyone to sort of begin their journey on emerging tech in school. COVID outbreak, endemic has proven it to us that come what may, a tsunami, a zombie apocalypse, another pandemic, what is here to stay is the whole digital revolution. And when we talk about a digital revolution, while we have our subjects of geography, biology, and then there is STEM, everything will then, have a fundamental, a foundation of digitization. And therefore, we say that, how about beginning early? The reason why I'm telling you the story of how we first reached out to the marginalized society and not to the private schools is because I think everyone who's listening, here today, I understand it's a mix of students, largely so. I want you all to know that it is important to give back to the society. It is important to look at technology for good, not just technology for capitalization or revenue generation, but for the societal good as well. So, and when we talk about, our championship and the projects that we see, which are created by students, if we bifurcate them into a private school category or a government school category, I kid you not, you can't tell. At the end of it, these are all enthusiastic students from schools, colleges who have built, amazing projects. So coming back to, I'm going to stop sharing this. So yes, coming back to what we were talking in terms of goals in robotics. So yes, that was one of the first initiatives in the country that we launched on Girls Who Build Robots. Then, and we are looking at educating 2 million by 2025. So coming back to the country's National Science Foundation that predicts 80% of jobs in the next decade will require STEM skills. IBM estimates that STEM careers will offer 24% higher pay and longevity in the future. Now, I definitely think that now that, I've sort of given you a preview of how beneficial it has been for the children to start their journey in school, progress to higher education, and making it as a, ecosystem going from level 1 to level 2 to advanced level. I think that it is indeed a great opportunity where, at the moment, when we talk about 2022, women make up about 50% of STEM graduates, but only 34% of the workforce in India's information technology industry, highlighting a gap between women's education and career. Now, when we sort of see that, we also, on the contrary, read this amazing news that, all the tech giants, Tata, Wipro, hired 60,000 women for the IT careers, sort of in the year of 2021. This sort of reinstates our faith that if we study the subject, if we pursue it, for higher education, there is, a plethora of opportunities waiting out for you there. And like I said earlier, that I don't want to limit this as just employable opportunities, but also want to talk about, leadership. And again, since we are cheering on for, the Women's Month and Women's International Day, I don't want the men to feel rather, remorse and secluded. So I would say that when we are looking at, entrepreneurship, at the moment, the gap does prevail when we speak about even VCs or funding, which I will sort of speak in about 5 minutes, as to the percentages of women are still quite lower than the one of their sort of male counterparts. Therefore, to all the girls and women listening on and the male counterparts who can support and cheer them, I want to say that, be fearless and live up to your potential. It can be anything. It could be, arts, not just, STEM, robotics or technology, but be fearless, be focused, and, go head on with what you want to do. Because when we first launched Robotics India, many eyeballs were raised saying that it is expensive to learn coding. It's very expensive to learn robotics. And how are you democratizing this to the rural children, to the government school at such an affordable price? Well, the magic here is that, the magic here is collaboration. I always tell people, never compete, always collaborate. So we collaborated with universities in Finland. We collaborated with our parent organization, which is Robotics International in Estonia. We got wonderful coding, programs from there, a methodology, a framework that sort of came from there, and we replicated that and acclimatized it for, the Indian sector, not only for education but also for employment, and sort of made it possible. So that's when I say you got to be fearless, because everything is possible. You just need to have that faith in yourself and what you're doing. So that's what at Robotics India, we have seen girls amplify their understanding and start to develop necessary skills, which will be useful in advocating for themselves. There's a very interesting interview on YouTube. So AI India, which is a sort of consortium of MIT, which is Ministry of IT and Electronics, said that they want to interview 2 of our girls from the Girls Who Build Robot Initiative. I'll try and play one of the videos from there as well. And this girl whose father is an auto rickshaw driver, studies in a government school, and has created, I will play the video of what she's created. Her name is Anjali, and she's a 6th grader. So while she was being interviewed by India AI, none of us from Robotics India were there. And when we read the interview and when we heard it, she said that when the school said, and she said it in Hindi, कि जब मुझे school में मेरा नाम आया लिस्ट में, तो मुझे लगा मैं सपना देख रही हूँ. मुझे अपने आप को थोड़ा पिंच करना पड़ा ऐसे करके कि ये सपना तो नहीं है, अरे मैं रोबोटिक्स कैसे, मेरे को रोबोटिक्स और कोडिंग सीखने मिलेगा. And when you hear her testimonial, it's right there. I mean, the dreams, the aspirations that these, girls have everywhere, and more so from, the marginalized and underdeserved community. It's great that this platform is helping them to be the future scientist, engineer, doctors, and you must hear them. It's a different kind of heartwarming, experience that we often see. So, and then coming back to robotics or STEM as a career, it's not so much about, how much education or how many degrees in STEM or technology women acquire. It is a matter of having long, successful, fulfilling, and accomplishment-laden careers. So where the women's talents are utilized for their best, for their own, for their family, and the nation's betterment. They always say that when you educate a man, you educate a man. But when you educate a woman, you empower the entire family. And that's where this sort of, comes from. So while the situation is definitely improving, we see an increase in the number of women in STEM is indicative of this. And the road is yet long. So we have a long way to go. There's much more work ahead. But by fomenting a technological STEM mindset and expanding possibility, we definitely hope to shape the, education and careers of women. When we talk about, I was just reading this recent survey. So people ask that, why did you pick these 4 subjects at robotics? And we say that, we read the World Economic Forum report for 2030, and they said that these are the 10 technical skills that you require to be employable in 2030. And then we picked the top 5 skills. But what they also put right next to the tech skills is life skills. They put leadership, they put team building, cognitive thinking. And when we talk about creating robots and drones, that is the epicenter of it. You have to work in groups. You have to exhibit that creativity and leadership. So when we talk about what are the 5 STEM or robotics occupation that are projected to grow faster from 2030 to 2020 to 2030, and in which at least 1 in 6 jobs were held by women. And the survey was quite interesting. It showed every aspect from information security analyst, software developers, software quality assurance analysts, testers. There was operation research analyst, robotics, which was used for industrial engineering, including health and safety, medical scientists. So like we said, the opportunities are huge and unstoppable. So while we've spoken about robotics, employability, societal good, giving back to the society, tech for good, I also want to sort of say here that when we talk about women entrepreneurship, I definitely am a big advocate of giving that sort of push to every girl and every woman to not limit themselves, thinking that they may have to take up a job or they may have to sort of settle for something. Because when we look at women's entrepreneurship in its full potential, can add 170 million new jobs and exponentially contribute to our country's economic growth. So we've seen over 27 startups that have been valued over $1 billion just in 2021. However, only one of them was led by a woman, and we all know that is Nika. Then out of the 136 unicorn startup founders in India, only 5 are female. And then the new estimate shows that 150 startups will be valued at over $1 billion in the next 4 years. And there are only 16 which are women-led. So while we are talking about, technology, we're talking about robotics and STEM, I also want to put it out there that women have far superior potential to sort of grow. And, these stats are, I think, just a teaser and a tester to sort of give us the push into what we need. I also work very closely with, a lot of VCs, and especially women-led VCs, which are sort of crushing the gender gap. So when it comes to venture capital, there's a financial incentive close to the gender gap. So there was a BCG study that I sort of recently read that said that women-founded startups are the horse VCs everyone should be betting on. They found that for every dollar of funding, and this is very interesting, that these startups, the women-led startups, generated 78 cents, whereas male-founded startups generated only 31 cents, I'm sorry. And yet the data shows that VCs don't trend towards women, at least not at a rate of, mixed gender or male-found startups. But these, as a female founder, these international funds, should certainly be in the radar. And there are like top 20, Nika is just sort of one of it, but then there are, 20 such names that we can sort of talk about. And so like I said, that, employability, entrepreneurship, all these are sort of tied in to what the students are studying in their school or in their colleges. And one sort of thing that sort of stayed with us is when we did our, VC rounds, and one question that we asked to a male or to a female, which was about money. And the consensus drawn was that female founders are less motivated by money. What motivates them is, not to get rich quickly, especially in the startup game. They have dreams to scale up that product. They want to talk about environment, about sustainability. They want to create products and systems that are not just, for revenue generation, but for societal good at large. And that is one of the reasons why I wanted to, bring this up as well, because you are the future when we talk about entrepreneurship. Also, a topic very close to my heart, which is corporate social responsibility, because Robotics is a nonprofit, and I went from a six-figure pound salary coming back to India, starting a nonprofit, because I definitely wanted to make a difference. I did not want to spend my youth helping a large corporation make money. I may get shot for this, but I wanted to go to sleep very peacefully every night with a sense of not just accomplishment, but with a sense that I have made a difference to someone's life. And then when we talk about women in, let's talk about CSR in the corporate sector, 80% of them are women, is because women are more likely to prioritize corporate social responsibility more than ever. And ethically speaking, this can change the entire trajectory of success when we talk about unemployment, when we talk about gender biases, sort of, all of it. And that's why when I said that, we as a nonprofit believe that, it is important to give back to the society. And I personally feel that we don't need magic to transform our lives. We carry all that power inside of us. And, the power to imagine better. Because think of it this way, it is not just when you do a certain thing, it will be your family which is celebrating. However, when you start looking at societal good, it's thousands and hundreds whose reality you have helped to change. And therefore, I always say that identify not just with the powerful, but the powerless and less advantageous people around as well. So yeah, it is sort of, fairly clear that makes science better. Gender diversity broadens the viewpoints. Without women and other underrepresented groups in science, the world may miss out on sort of valuable innovations and ideas that alternate perspectives bringing to the table. So yes, here's my awfully long sort of banter rant about not just women in robotics, but in leadership, in entrepreneurship as well. Go look up these amazing forums, which are, women in technology, women who code, women in STEM, girls in STEM. Please support, these forums and groups by volunteering in them. And, the team that even Robotics India has is sort of a very, very young team. I think 50% of them sort of still freshies in the last year of their MBAs who chose to not take up a large CTC job, but when they were interning with us, decided to sort of convert it into employment. So I think that the future is definitely looking bright. And once again, thank you for having me. And I hope I didn't sort of bore you much with what I said. So yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was indeed inspirational to witness your journey, your endeavors in the field of or domain of robotics, I must say. But while listening to you, I was very much surprised, and I was just trying to figure it out. And I would like to ask first question in that context only. Can you tell me what exactly make you inspired or take a step forward to found the Hack the Crisis? Because you might have known, and we have been also doing a lot of things for hackathon so that we could enhance the stimulus of our students so that they could think out of the box, think in the right direction for the societal problems and how they could channelize their efforts to solve those problems. So what one thing which made you to found that, to establish Hack the Crisis?
Right. So I'm gonna quickly sort of, could I share my screen if you don't mind?
Yeah, please.
Thank you. Okay. So in terms of, what inspired us, there's a short story behind it. Now, when in March 2020, the entire world witnessed a sort of lockdown, and we were into a pandemic which no one would have thought of would hit us in the 21st century. We at FICI decided to do something for the societal good. And we said, how can we do that while we are sitting at home? That is when we decided to launch the first digital hackathon, which we didn't know at the time when we were working towards it that will become India's largest and the first digital hackathon to find COVID-19 solutions. We said that, so the Hack the Crisis World was a movement that was started in Estonia. We quickly joined it within 5 days, calling it as Hack the Crisis India. We floated out this entire solution-based hackathon, urging for applications, saying that this is a hackathon where we want only technological solutions to come up for battling COVID-19 while we sit at home, not just making it look like, okay, it's a pandemic, let us, hoard as many supplies as we want. Let us be scared and sit at home but not do anything. We urged out to all the Indians to come out with solutions. And it was fantastic. We had 15,000 entries coming in, 3,000 participants, 200 plus solutions. And this is what sort of came out of it. So as a motivation, we wanted to find solution to help the fellow Indians on ventilators that were costing lakhs of rupees, and a ventilator which was sort of designed here for merely 10 to 15,000 rupees. This is a UV disinfectant robot. People were talking about the obnoxiously long time, no healthcare workers available to even sanitize the rooms. But this is the kind of solution that sort of, came out. There were people the suicide rates were going up. The divorce rates were going higher as well. That's when we saw this, amazing AI-based mental health app that was, invented. People couldn't queue up in the hospitals because of the scare of the virus. The digital AI hospital was an innovation that came up. So what motivated us was to help the fellow Indians by sitting at home. But what came out of it was sort of much larger, where it helped the entire, community. And it was amazing to see how Indians got together. There was a 7-year-old boy who made a last mile delivery drone from Milkmaid tins, because he said my father had to queue up for 3 hours just to get milk. So he designed the drone. I mean, that is sort of, one phenomenal thing when we talk about what sort of motivated us, or rather what came out of it in the end.
Impressive, indeed. So it must be definitely challenging, ma'am, during COVID crisis to conduct hackathon and other. But still, how you have overcome those, and what was your gut feeling that this is going to work and we could definitely, what we can say, serve the human mankind?
If we were to be honest, we had only 10 days to get the entries, run a 48-hour hackathon with an amazing team that we had from universities, from science and technology parks, Pune, from ministry, our European mentors. So we had a great support system. But when it came to outreach, despite having the support of Ministry of IT&E, MSH, MyGov, it took a while for the applications to roll in. So we got quite jittery in the beginning, thinking, is this even going to work? But the way it sort of formulated into one step to another, snowballed into one sort of big moment, gave us the faith that, yes, there are challenges and there are hurdles. People were sitting at home. Sometimes the Wi-Fi was not good enough. The devices, weren't supporting high UI, UX, which the product needed. But we also had a 68-year-old participants from Coimbatore who made a aqua sanitizer because they lived closer to the sea. So those are the kind of wonderful solutions that sort of came out. Yes, it was a challenge to begin with, but like I mentioned earlier on as well, what works best is collaboration. We collaborated with, a huge support system from academia to technologists to ministries, mentors, not just in India, but in Europe as well. And that's what sort of prevailed out of it, a huge successful hackathon. India then went on to represent at the Global Hack as well. India won 8 podium positions at the Global Hack, and a few of them are the ones that I just sort of displayed earlier on.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, since we do have participants across the globe, some of them are academicians, some of them are faculty members, research scholars. So on behalf of academia fraternity, I would like to ask this question that already everyone has started making buzz about NEP 2020 and it has been implementing, government has been taking a lot of efforts, Ministry of Education has been taking a lot of effort to have the proper intervention of NEP 2020. But what do you think the foreign countries ICT model like Finland or Estonia or maybe today's India's ICT education model? And again, in that context, I would like to ask you why we should promote STEM education right from the early childhood.
Right. So let's break this up into sort of, two aspects. One, when we talk about the National Education Policy 2020, and I advise a few state governments on the NEP 2020, is it possible or is it impossible? I would go with the former. Is it going to be right away or is it going to take some time? I will go with the latter. But it will happen, and we see a lot of it happening, especially introducing, it took us 38 years to make a new policy. And I'm glad that this policy spoke about the fact, which is vocational skills, and how, the contrary is coding and vocational skills should be compulsory in grade 6. I don't really understand why we're harping about just coding. There are so many other subsets to it as well. But the fact that vocational skills is compulsory from 6th grade, that is where, I would be a large advocate for, because everyone understood during the pandemic that India lacks majorly. When we talk about skill set, there is a huge gap on skill set. Everyone then started taking Coursera and these courses to upskill themselves, to reskill themselves. So I think to be able to have a policy and the freedom to do that right from the beginning, and making the school children so susceptible to emerging tech and changing technology. If there is, if you're learning Scratch in your 6th grade, be prepared to learn Python in your next grade, be prepared to learn Raspberry Pi when you go to college. So that continuous learning, if I think comes into a student at an early age, which is in school or in college, that's like far, far sort of beneficial, because then, as everyone knows, that change is the only constant thing, and the sooner you understand it, it's better. Now, when we talk about the digital ICT part of our country, we all know that there is a huge digital divide. When we talk about the demographics of our country, when we talk about the rural areas of our country, we face this challenge day on day when we work with the college students for the youth skills program. And these are, again, college students from government schools, ITIs, polytechnics, and then we work with the school students. They have only one device at home. They don't have Wi-Fi. Electricity is quite meek. The data needs to be topped up every time. And how are we talking about children coming on Zoom lessons where the data is still a constraint? So I think digital divide is something which needs to be bridged on. We need to build on it exponentially. Before we even start talking about digital ICT education in the rural areas, why can't we look at making the infrastructure a little more sort of, robust? So my take on it is, yes, NEP has its own, highs and lows. If implemented the right way, I think it's a marvelous, policy which will benefit our students and future early stage startups to employers, far superiorly. And like I mentioned earlier as well, that this 2 years of pandemic has put the growth on acceleration at 10x. So if we've accelerated so much as calling ourselves as a digital nation, then the digital divide is going to be lifted far soon as well.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Again, to move forward, as every one of us has experienced that your point of view on women and their roles is exceptional, right? So how, according to you, can we work up making that change in the mindset for a larger audience? Because you also mentioned during your keynote. So how to do that?
Wow. This is like a chicken and egg thing that you asked me. How do we make a shift in the mindset when we talk about STEM education? And I think that this is something which sort of begins at home. And when I say home, I wouldn't say just a home with four walls, but a classroom where we study with our counterparts is also home. A place where we work with our colleagues is also home. You're the professor, and for you, the college is something which you will call your second home. So I think that when we say charity begins at home, and people call it a home run, I would say that that is the first place where encouragement of women in STEM and their accomplishments should sort of begin. We would want, I never sort of like this whole, or I talk about the discrimination between men and women. I do talk about statistics, but I always say that, men can be the loudest cheerleaders for women. That's going to be the first point on how we can, sort of change the mindset. When we started our Girls Who Built Robots initiative, we heard it from a lot of parents who had 3 to 4 children, and they had single devices at home. And this was not only in India. We had I was speaking at a panel which was Ambitious Africa panel, and I heard it there as well, that if there were 3 children at home and there were 2 boys and 1 girl, the device would first go to the boys and not to the girls. So how would a girl expect to even be present in school or have higher attendance when we talk about the pandemic? So it's great to see now that those barriers are shifting to an equal level, even with the parents, where we see that a lot of parents are not discriminating with their children. So that's the sort of second thing that I'm coming to, is awareness. One is home run, second is awareness, and the third one being is when it's the time for women to shine, let us give them that podium to do so. Let us put that mantle on their head and say, you know what, you can do it, and I am here to support you. Failures are a part and parcel of your life, but as far as you're ready to go, I think you should. So a great ecosystem, becoming an epicenter of support, along with home run, and acknowledging the fact that men and women, at the end of it, we just on human as one species and nothing else. But the pandemic is proven it all the more so when we talk about human lives and how life is so short.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for guiding us on that. Okay. Before we conclude, I would like to also ask one question. We have seen and we have listened to your endeavors, and so how everyone can be part of your mission to teach robotics, to promote the awareness, to train or expose the deprived community, and how students, right from first year or even first, what we can say, once they start their professional journey with their college, how they could be part of your mission so that they could contribute for this.
So, like I said earlier on as well, that firstly, I would, want the students, even the professors, everyone to look at these, forums like Women in Technology, Girls Who Code, Girls in STEM, and, sort of join these, initiatives, even Fiki Flow for that matter, wherein you can become a loudest cheerleader and do some groundbreaking work with girls and women as well. When we talk about robotics, We have a 400 plus strong team of volunteers. And when we talk, and these are just student volunteers from, not just engineering colleges, but, these are college and university students who spend time with our children now more so online, not only making their, technology projects better in terms of giving them a better, coding guidance or a capstone project robotics guidance, but even simple as communication and presentation skills. So yes, I would say that either head on to our website on Robotics India, look me up on LinkedIn, Instagram, drop me a message, or they can get in touch with you, Professor Suraj, to come and volunteer with us. Our program is a 9-month long program, and most of the engineering students that volunteer with us are from starting from their year second, third. When they're in their fourth year, they're working very closely with the students and helping them make these capstone projects, solving real world problems on environment, agriculture, defense, rescue mission, etc. So what is available to the students, what they're learning as a as a curriculum, it's amazing that they have the power to give it back to the less privileged of the society just by the medium of coming online and teaching them a few lines of code, or making their bots program better.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. And do we have any plans that we will be also going from robotics to drones in future?
We already are. So our curriculum for 2022 includes drones. And you will very soon see and read news about how, students in government schools have now, moved on from creating robotics and now are creating drones. And we are working closely with the TFI and a few other sort of drone making companies who could sort of help us in building up the curriculum and the devices, etc.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yeah. So, my dear friends, and yes, ma'am. Would you like to add?
I actually was sort of, supposed to play the video earlier on, and I think I did not get a chance, but I would really want to sort of play the video and, leave everyone with that social message, if that's okay, either before or after your concluding remarks, whenever you say it's all right.
It's okay, ma'am. You can play now.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
I want to become a doctor because I want to help poor people.
Project to tractor to help farmers to farming, and it is useful to do agriculture and do feeding. See, it is working. Yes, done.
मैं राधिका नवनाथ पवार, शनि नवनाथ पवार की मम्मी हूँ। मैं सिक्योरिटी गार्ड का जॉब करती हूँ और आप जो रोबोटिक्स बच्चों को सिखा रहे हैं वो बहुत अच्छा है, बच्चों के फ्यूचर के लिए बहुत अच्छा है।
Thank you for giving us the time to play this. And yes, before leaving, I would just like to say that Robotics India is mainly a championship, and our championship launches for 2022 physically in the month of April, and we would love to have everyone from MIT to come volunteer for us and be a part of the championship in a way where they can not only help the rural students, members of jury, mentor the children, all of that.
Sure, ma'am. Even we would love to host you
Thank
at
you.
the campus. Yeah. So thank you so much, ma'am. It was really inspiring and impeccable, I must say. It's really great to see the endeavors you have taken and the efforts you and your team has been taken at Robotics India. My dear friends, sharing the same vision with the rest of the world, MIT Center for Future Skills Excellence has been established at MIT Art, Design and Technology University, Pune. And we are undertaking every opportunity to take a step into the future and offering super specialized programs as well as initiatives like this. And our goal is to provide all the students, working professional, career aspirants from all walks of life so that they could get quality and affordable education, which is very much aligned with the industry's requirement. And I hope the sessions so today we are at the conclusion of our day one of International Virtual Summit. In the morning, we had opportunity to listen to three great women frontiers across the globe. And once again, on behalf of Team MIT Center for Future Skills Excellence, I sincerely express my gratitude to Payal ma'am for sparing her valuable time with us today and sharing an important message to all the stakeholders that how robotics could be more interesting and how we could support this initiative of Robotics India to promote STEM education for every student. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much once again. Thank you for being with us. And I request once again to be with us for a while. Over to you, Suruchi.
Thank you so much, sir. And a bigger thank you to ma'am. Your insights were absolutely amazing. The importance and growth of women in a field like that of this is an absolute honor to learn, especially from you. Your point of views on women empowerment is, like I said again, inspiring. I'm sure all of us are going to take back some very valued and true opinions with us today. Once again, thank you so much for joining today. And events like these are possible only due to the constant support and encouragement from Honorable Professor Dr. Mangesh Karat sir, Executive President and Vice Chancellor, MIT ADT University. His blessings make such sessions eventful. A big thank you to our mentors, Dr. Anand Chakradev Sir, Pro Vice Chancellor, and Dr. Mahesh Chopre Sir, Registrar at MIT ADT University, for their constant support, cooperation, and motivation in such events. I extend my sincere appreciation to all the deans, directors, HOIs, and HODs at the MIT ADT University. Your support encourages us to progress and flourish. I'm indebted to our ecosystem partners who support and guide us through the International Virtual Summit organization. A big thank you to our knowledge partners, University at Buffalo Blockchain Think Lab, California Science and Technology University, Center for Finance, Technology and Entrepreneurship, Natalie EV Consulting. Thank you to the technology partners, Asset Rush, Kaleido, Big ID, Paymonk, Innovise, and Steezy. Settlement, Securo, Robotics India, and Radicad. A big thank you to our education partners who cooperate and motivate us in our courses and events, which is Microsoft, Salesforce, Atos, SAP, EduPeer, AI Beehive, CloudThat, Skills Factory. Thank you to our community partners, OSWAP Foundation, Women in Cybersecurity and Privacy, InfoSec Girls, India Blockchain Forum, Global Blockchain Business Council, Women in Blockchain Talks, and MKAI. Our inspiration is our innovation partners, AIC MIT ADT Incubator Forum, and CerebroSpark Innovations LLP. A huge thank you to our certification partners, True Scholar. And thank you so much for our digital marketing partner, Brand Neeti, Integrated Strategic Advertising and Management Agency. Finally, I would like to thank the audience from the bottom of my heart who took out their precious time and joined us today. I request you to kindly share your valuable feedback. The link will be shared in the chat box. Today was a day full of knowledge, experience, insightful deliberations, and motivations. We'll continue this journey once again tomorrow, 9 a.m. sharp. Please note that the insightful sessions lined up for tomorrow, you can see them on the screen, and you may also visit the official website, which is www.mitfutureskills.org/WFET for the detailed schedule of the summit. Let us meet again using the same link tomorrow for the session, The State of Adoption for Enterprise Blockchain and Digital Assets by Ms. Sofia Lopez, Founder, Chief Operating Officer at Kaleido. I, with the permission of our esteemed guest and Surat sir, would like to declare this session over. See you again tomorrow. Till then, please be safe, keep on learning, be motivated. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Payal ma'am. Thank you so much once again. And looking forward to meet you offline as well. Thank you.
Likewise. Thank you for having me, everyone. Stay safe. Have a good evening.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.